Hey guys, how's it going? Clayton here at eTrailer.com. Today we'll be taking a look at, and I'll show you how to install, a CURT Class 3 trailer hitch on a 2019 Dodge Charger. Here's what our hitch is going to look like installed. As you can see, it still retains a good look under the vehicle. The cross tube, you can see just a touch of it, but most of it's concealed under the bumper, still giving a good sharp look to the vehicle. This hitch is going to be great for bike racks, cargo carriers, and pulling a small trailer. Cargo racks are great because you can put your cargo behind the vehicle and leave more room for your passengers. And bike racks are even better because you don't have to try to cram the bike into the trunk or load it on the roof. This hitch is going to have a 2" by 2" receiver tube opening. This is great because it accepts a lot of hitch mount accessories. And this hitch is going to have a 5/8 hitch pin opening, as you can see here. So it'll accept your standard hitch pin. The hitch pin does not come with this hitch, but you can find it here at eTrailer.com. And we do have a plate style safety chain loop, which is great because it's strong and accepts almost all of your safety chains. As you can see, this is a rather large one. You just clip it on there and you're good to go. This hitch is going to be constructed out of steel, so it is going to be strong for a very long time. It is also finished in black powder coating, so it's going to look good no matter the time of the year or conditions. The measurement from the ground to the top inner part of our receiver tube is about 11¼ inches. And typically we want that number to be around 12 inches. So when you're using a ball mount, you want to make sure to leave it in the rise position. And the measurement from our receiver tube to the outermost part of our fascia is about 4¾ inches. This is going to be important when you're choosing cargo carriers or bike racks to know how much clearance you have from the back of your vehicle. So this hitch is going to offer you a 350-pound tongue weight rating. That's 350 pounds pushing directly down on the inside of our receiver tube. This hitch is also going to have a 3,500-pound trailer weighting. Keep in mind that's the weight of the trailer and the load on the trailer. And you want to make sure to check your instructions manual just to make sure your vehicle is rated to tow that much weight. So now that we've gone over some of the features, I'll walk you through how to get it installed. To start our installation, we're going to remove our rubber isolator mounts for our exhaust on the passenger and driver's side of our vehicle. So we're going to start by removing this nut. This is a 13mm nut. So we're going to remove our next bolt on our passenger side. It's also a 13, and it'll be located directly up above your hanger. And after you remove your isolators on your passenger side, you're going to repeat the same process on your driver's side. So next, we're going to remove our isolator on our passenger side. We can get a pry bar in here underneath our exhaust, pry it down on the back. There we go. So after we get our isolator removed on our driver's side, we're going to remove these 2 bolts on our exhaust, and these are also going to be a 13mm socket. So with our exhaust bolts removed, we're going to go ahead and slide our exhaust back. The muffler might make contact with your tip or your exhaust tip back here, so it might be a good idea to get an extra set of hands just to help guide that so you're not scratching your undercarriage. With our extra set of hands, we'll slide our exhaust off the hanger, move it back forward at an angle, and the exhaust will come down. So we have our driver's side exhaust removed. There's plenty of access room up here to put in our hitch, but our passenger side's kind of tight. So it's going to be hard to get our hardware up behind the muffler. So we're going to remove our 2 cross members, put a strap underneath to hold our exhaust up, and there's a clip on the outside of your fender. And if you pop that clip out, you'll be able to flex the bumper enough to lower this exhaust. Your instructions do not tell you to do this, but we found it easier just because you have more room to work. So now we're going to hang our strap to support our exhaust. I prefer to go underneath the exhaust and onto our coil springs on the rear end. So we'll hang our strap on this side, run our strap to this side, tighten it down, and then we can remove our cross members. So to remove our cross members is going to be the same 13mm socket. We'll go ahead, loosen this, set our nut to the side, then we'll remove the 2 over here. Then our cross member will come down freely, and you'll repeat the process on this front cross member as well. After removing our cross members, we're going to remove these plastic push pins. This will secure our bumper, but in this case we're going to remove it, that way we can flex that bumper back to let our exhaust hang down. So we'll take a nylon pry tool, go into this push pin, and pull out. After removing our push pins, we'll pop our fender liner out, and then we're going to remove a 10mm bolt right up here located inside of our fender. It's a good idea to use an extension just so you're not going to scratch your paint. After you remove your 10mm bolt, we're going to pull this fascia off. It's important to pull straight out, and we're not going to go all the way to the end. We don't want to crack the paint. And when you are prying down, you want to make sure not to pry down against this taillight or you'll crack your paint there as well. So we're going to put our hand in, push up, and pull out. So with our fascia popped off, we're going to go ahead and pry out on this. You can grab an extra set of hands if you'd like to watch that taillight, make sure that that bumper is not rubbing up against the taillight. We're going to push out, pull our exhaust over and down. So as we were lowering our exhaust, we gave a little bit more slack in our strap. This will give us a little bit more room to work so the exhaust will hang lower. And it is important to put a piece of paper or cardboard or something in between your muffler and your fascia. That'll keep the muffler from scratching your paint. After lowering our exhaust, it's time to put our hardware in. We're going to be using this hole and this hole. We're going to use a fish wire. We're going to take this spring end, feed it through this hole and out this hole. It'll make it a lot easier if you put a bend in the fish wire. So we're going to take it, put it through here, and feed that through our hole. Next, we're going to put our spacer block on. Then we're going to take our bolt and screw it on to the spring end of our fish wire. After we've done that, we're going to pull this side, feed our spacer block through this hole, push our bolt through, then pull our bolt down and make sure that's fully seated. After you've put your fish wire through the first hole, it's important to leave that wire on. We're going to go ahead and put our hardware in the next hole. So we're going to bend our fish wire, go through that small hole, and back out of our big hole. We will feed it down, install our spacer block on the fish wire, screw our carriage bolt onto our spring end of the fish wire, feed our spacer block through the hole, push our bolt through, and then pull down on our fish wire. And again, we're going to leave these wires attached. Here on our driver's side, it is just a little bit different. We'll be using this hole and this hole. This hole has a factory weld nut, so we will be putting this bolt through the hitch with a conical tooth washer, and we will be feeding a spacer block and bolt through this hole. Now it's a good idea to grab an extra set of hands for lifting our hitch up into place. Here on the driver's side, I suggest using your hex bolt and your conical tooth washer with the teeth facing up towards the hitch to get this in place. With our extra set of hands, we're going to go ahead and put our hitch into place. Remember to feed your fish wire through the holes in the hitch and not to get those crossed. And then we will lift our hitch up into place, making sure that those bolts come through our hitch. We'll take that hex washer on the driver's side and thread that in. And then when you are working with the fish wire bolts, you need to be careful not to push those bolts back up into your frame. To install our flange nut, we're going to take off our fish wire. Be careful not to push that bolt back into the frame. So we're going to take our hex nut, carefully thread it on, get it hand tight, and then we can go back in and tighten them all down and repeat the process on the other side. We're going to take a 19mm socket and tighten down all of our hardware. After all of your hardware is tightened down, you want to go back and torque it down. The torque specs will be listed in your instructions. Then we're going to repeat that process on all of our hardware. So with all of your hardware torqued down, you can go ahead and reinstall everything in the reverse order that you took it apart. And once you have your exhaust back up, you can go ahead and remove your strap. Don't forget to pop your fascia back in. We're going to start at the rear of the vehicle and work our way towards the front. Once that's secured, we'll install our 10mm bolt and our 3 push pins. After your fascia is all buttoned up, you're good to go. That's going to do it for a look at and installation of a CURT Class 3 trailer hitch on a 2019 Dodge Charger. Thanks. Have a good one.